Good morning. I'm former Secretary Edwin Lacierda from Pinoy's administration.
Opay nga aga maayong buntag, I'm former Governor Ben P. Evardone of Eastern Samar, and we are
The Spokes. From the palace halls then to our group chats now, we'll give you perspectives from an insider's position standing behind the podium. And noted by the spokes today, House Deputy Speaker Janet Garin criticized the request made by VP Sara Duterte on Senate to shoulder the cost to food and catering for her defense team.
Pati ba naman yun? Pati ba naman yun na magiging issue?
O nga, bakit ba...
Dati ba yung kay Justice Corona at saka kay ano?
Hindi
Pero
pa.
dapat hindi yun pinag-uusapan na eh. That's to me, it's irrelevant eh. Dapat
kaya?
yung issue ng... Pero may budget naman yung OVP eh.
Oo nga.
Di ba?
Pwede naman.
Pwede naman gamitin siguro yun. Kasi yung paglilitis sa kanya is by virtue of her position as a Vice President.
Pero sa bagay, request yun sa Senate presiding officer.
Oo. Pero palagi ko, kung ako'y Senate President win, I think I will grant it. Magkano lang naman siguro. Oo. Hindi naman marami siguro yan.
Bakit? May takot ba sila na... Baka malason daw. Napaka...
So, dapat kanila yung caterer, pero ang magbabayad yung Senate.
Bigyan naman natin ng good faith ang ating Senate na hindi kayo lalasonin, Madam Vice President.
Oo nga, oo nga. Pero to me, that's a non-issue. That's a non-issue to this impeachment proceedings. No? Masyadong maliit yan na issue. Baka lang binate lang ng defense yung prosecution for that. So nag-react naman tayo. So baka to sidestep the main issue. Di ba?
Pero ano naman yan eh. So, kasi sabi rin naman ni Janet Garin, meron daw silang sariling budget din naman dyan. And OVP should provide their own budget. But I agree. If it's a small amount, I think maybe perhaps the Senate President can offer that as in deference to the Vice President. But there is no, it's so paranoid to think that there will be poison in the food. Let's give credit to the catering team of the Senate.
Oo, sobra naman yun.
And noted by the spokes, also, DFA Secretary Tess Lazaro raised Manila's strong protest against aggressive actions of China during her personal meeting with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi yesterday.
Yeah, I think it was a timely and appropriate move on the part of the DFA Secretary. No?
Kasi nakaka-insulto naman kasi.
Grabe talaga. Biro mo, babatutain mo, hahampasin mo ng grabe talaga yung ginagawa ng China. No?
At sa parang, di ba, tayong official chairman ng ASEAN, di ba? 2026.
Lalo na ngayon. Oh.
Tapos babastusin mo yung guest sa host country naman. Parang,
at saka ngayon pang we're hosting. This week, di ba? This week yung summit ng ASEAN.
Sa July 20 to 24, yes. Oo.
Parang parang talagang ibang klase itong China, they are trying to embarrass the president for that matter in our country, in the eyes of the international community. Buti na lang nagre-react positively yung European countries, Japan, US, and other allies, di ba?
Alam mo, medyo ano rin ang ASEAN eh, may sariling interest kasi this issue was brought up, the issue of Ayungin Shoal was brought up in the foreign ministers meeting ni Tess Lazaro. But apparently, dinedma siya ng mga ibang ASEAN ministers. So parang feeling like it should be discussed by both parties eh. So parang ayaw makialam ng ASEAN. Pero this issue may be in direct conflict with the Philippines, but the issue of the West Philippine Sea affects all ASEAN countries.
Not only ASEAN countries, the whole world for that matter, di ba? Kaya nga, gusto naman ng China, yung bilateral talks, di ba? Bubulihin lang tayo niyan eh. But at the same time, tama ka nga, Sec Edwin, this issue involves not only the Philippines, but the entire...
And it's true, because 30% of global trade passes through the South China Sea. So that has to be South China Sea, then goes to the Malacca Strait. So, kaya malaking issue. Dapat, I think the ASEAN ministers should really take a second look at this issue because it doesn't just involve the Philippines. In any event, si Tess Lazaro has already spoken to the Foreign Minister Wang Yi So,
Pero
and
ano
said-
naging conclusion lang nila? Open communication lines, etc. That's good enough, no? But we should have gotten a more firmer stand na ganun na, we will respect you, etc. We will not embarrass you. Especially nga ngayon that we're hosting the ASEAN Summit, di ba?
Oo naman, parang sinampal mo yung host country naman. Kunting galang naman, Mr. China.
Konting galang, dapat galangin talaga tayo. No?
Anyway, these are the headlines noted by the spokes. Up next is a very, 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 very rare 2-on-1 live studio interview with the Presidential Communications Secretary himself when the spokes return after the short break. And the spokes is back. He has spent almost 4 decades in public communications. Now, as the main man entrusted to communications to communicate the policies of the Marcos administration, we're honored to have here as guest. At sinabi ko, ang tagal na namin tinay kunin, the Secretary of the PCO, Dave Gomez. Welcome, Dave.
Welcome, Sec Dave, to the spokes. Sa Bilyonaryo, in fact, di ba? Family,
Yes,
parang first time.
First time, yes, first time.
First time.
And thank you for having me. Good morning, Sec Edwin. Good morning,
Kaya
Gomez.
nakita siya ni Corina kanina talaga.
Oo. Tagal na rin kami din nakita ni Corina, yes.
And during our conversations off-cam,
Yeah.
practical para dito, this is practically your neighborhood.
Yeah. Our ancestral home dito sa Cubao. So, just a few blocks away from your studio. So, matagal na nga akong iniimbitahan.
And the public school is where you vote?
Yeah.
Up till now?
Ponciano Bernardo Elementary
Nandiyan
School.
pa ba
I
yun?
remember, diyan ako registered voter growing up.
Hanggang ngayon, diyan ka pa rin bumoboto?
Hindi na.
So, lalong dapat siya mag-appear dito.
I feel at home. I feel at home here. Thank you for having me.
Oo, kaya well, anyway, magkasama kami sa sa dyaryo dati. I mean, sa student organ magkasama kami sa UE doon. No, tapos naghiwalay kami.
1960 plus? Ay, sorry.
Naghiwalay kami because ako napunta sa Pahayagang Malaya, siya napunta na Philippine Star.
Yes, Philippine Star.
So nag-cover kami pareho sa Congress, pero
Congress.
nag-cover din siya sa Senate, no. So ang tagal niya sa
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 Philippine
media.
Star, what was your beat?
Pioneers kami sa Philippine Star when it started in the 80s, no. And I stayed there for more than a decade. Towards the tail end, I covered Malacanang under the presidency of President Ramos.
Wow.
But a good portion of that stint in the Star was spent in Congress nga.
Congress kami,
Kasama ko si Gob doon, no. I think ako 6 or 7 years yata, spanning the speakership of Speaker Mitra and Speaker Joe de Venecia.
Yeah.
So,
And then you went on to become the Director General of
PIA. PIA, yes. That was in the early 2000, no? Immediately after the impeachment of President Estrada.
you were the PIA Director General during the time of ERAP?
No. After the impeachment, I was called by former President Gloria Arroyo to head the PIA at that time. So, ako daw yung pinakabatang Director General ng PIA, no? So you can imagine, makapal pa yung buhok ko ng mga panahon na yun.
Pero hindi kaya ata nagtagal doon eh.
Yeah,
di ba? Hindi
oo,
kaya ata nagtagal.
I spent just a year sa PIA because there was an offer from the private sector that I found hard to refuse.
Because of?
Nagpapalaki pa ako ng pamilya ko noon kasi kailangan kong kailangan natin maghanap buhay.
Yun talaga.
And you stayed in Philip Morris, no?
Yes. I was
For 24 years?
Yes, close to a quarter of a century, you know. And it's difficult for somebody in communications to be in an industry like the tobacco industry. It's a highly regulated industry. So for 25 years, talagang it's difficult. It's a difficult practice of communications.
Can you share, coming from government communications, public, and then to private, corporate communications, ano yung kaibahan doon?
Well, more than kaibahan, I think is the similarity among all of those. It's really your commitment to the truth. To me, that's very important. It's your commitment to the truth, and how you push out your messaging and narrative to the your public.
It's not exactly a very easy job being communications director for a tobacco firm. Di ba?
Yes,
So,
yes.
Yes.
I would imagine you had so much to deal with, especially on the anti-smoking campaign.
Yeah,
di ba?
lakas ng anti-smoking
Of course.
campaign.
And you have to be responsible in communicating. When I was in the tobacco industry, you have to understand that you shouldn't encourage minors to take up smoking. You shouldn't encourage non-smokers to take up smoking. So you have to be very conscious of the people you talk to, the audience you talk to. So if it's, for example, a general audience that minors may be exposed to, then you should refrain from talking to them.
At saka hindi lang Philippines ang tinutukan ni Sec Dave when he was at Philip Morris. I think worldwide, di ba? You were based for a time in Lucerne ba yan? Saan ba yan?
I had a couple of
main
expatriation
headquarters,
assignments for Philip Morris International. So for 3 years, I stayed in Lausanne, the operations center of Philip Morris International, in charge of our internal communications for Philip Morris International. Then I moved to our regional office for another 3 years, at that time in Hong Kong, in charge of the regional communications, supervising, I think at that time, 12 or 14 countries in the Asia-Pacific
So
region.
when the call of President Marcos offered you the job, why did you accept it? What led you to accept this job as
Well,
PCO?
Sec, let me just clarify. No, when I was invited to join the administration, I was already a private citizen already. No?
He retired already. He retired already.
I left Philip Morris already, and when they heard that I was available, I got the call. Actually, nagbabakasyon na ako nun sa anak ko.
Nasa Canada ka yata.
Oo, yung nakatanggap ako ng tawag.
Texted me.
Oo. So, sabi ko, it's a rare opportunity and privilege to serve the president, serve our country. So, I cannot say no. I cannot say no. So, immediately when I came back, I committed to serve the president and our people.
So how long have you been there now? More than a year.
Yes, more than a year now. I celebrated my first year. This July.
Nandun ka na nung sinabi ni Presidente Marcos yung ang kapal na mukha nyo. You were there.
Oo,
Mga 2 days after lang yun.
Hindi naman.
Before.
Hindi naman. Mga 3 weeks after. Ang baptism of fire ko noon, mga pagdating ko, a couple of days after, we flew to Washington to negotiate the tariffs imposed on us by President Trump. No? So I was really clueless of what am I doing here in Washington. That was my baptism of fire. Then when we came back, it was preparation for the SONA.
So what is your biggest challenge under this administration as PCO Secretary?
Well, I outlined it on SEC when I came on board that my priority really is to focus on communicating and socializing the programs and policies of the president, minus the politics. It's difficult to say that, but you can always draw the line between public service and governance and politics. I'd like to focus more on the programs and policies of the president, which he's doing a lot. It's really the challenge really is to communicate and socialize those projects and programs of the president.
Not only that, I think you also mentioned about your fight against fake news, di ba?
Oo. Isa rin sa mga initial concerns nung
Ano
nagkausap
ba mga updates doon ngayon? Di ba may mga kinasuhan pa kayo?
Meron. So we launched this yung aming anti-fake news campaign
Right.
for 5 months back. And may mga case build-up na kami at nag-refer na kami sa Department of Justice ng mga complaints namin. And charges were filed, no? And the good thing there is we noticed, working with the platforms as well, no? Siguro mga 4-5 na doon sa accounts na yun yung na-take down, no?
Okay.
The post itself na talagang fake, the platforms, in fairness to them, were very quick to take it down.
Okay.
But the accounts, we don't see them anymore. But in social media, take down one account easily in a
Oo,
matter of
dalawang
seconds,
baso.
minutes, may bago na namang account yan.
That is a problem that we never encountered, at least during the GMA, the
Right.
Pinoy administration.
Right.
We never encountered fake news
Right.
as an instrument of political campaign. This time around, it's being used talagang recklessly,
Yes.
without regard for truth. Plus the fact that social media, there's no longer one source of truth. Kaya ang daling gumawa ng fake news.
Correct.
Yes. And with the evolution of the communication landscape, yung acquisition ng news, yung acquisition of information, halos nag-50-50 na from traditional media and social media. People are acquiring their news not just from traditional media, print, radio, TV, but they're acquiring their sources of information sa social media as well. No? So,
Unfortunately nga, yung iba, hindi verified yung sources.
Yes, oo.
Some of our kababayan, nakukuha mga fake news or disinformation. Yun ang, that's, I think, the biggest challenge sa office mo at sa gobyerno in that, for that matter.
Early on in the administration, President Marcos said, I don't need a spokesperson.
Yes.
And then suddenly, I mean, not suddenly, but eventually, he appointed Yusek Claire Castro, si Atty. Hello, Auntie Claire.
Oo nga.
Brand niya yan, by the way,
Susunod
brand
dapat
yan.
saying, Yusek Claire, susunod, may utang ka sa amin. Si Edwin.
Claire is so much different from her principal. Di ba? She's very, very, very loud in a way and very aggressive in combating fake news. And really going hammer and tongs after the people who really try to propagate fake news. It's so different from the president. The president is calm, affable, very, very measured. Was that and I know that she came before you.
yes.
Do you agree on the kind of presentation that you also are very measured? You're always at the background, that you appear when necessary.
Yes.
So how do you feel that it is a good tandem to have you, Claire, being the more aggressive one and you being the more measured as well as the president?
No, Secretary, let me just clarify yung ano. No? I wasn't around when a decision was made na ayaw daw ng Pangulo ng spokesperson.
Right.
No? Hindi ko alam yun, but I heard things along that line. No? Na
But
ayaw
I think
sinabi niya
before
yun.
you came in, I think
Before you came in, public sinabi niya.
ang narinig ko, ang sabi daw ng Pangulo is he can be his own spokesperson.
Correct.
No? But after a while, I think after the midterm, nung pumasok si Yusek Claire, I think the formula works, no? Because the president needs to focus on governance, on the delivery of public services. And he cannot focus on media as much, no? So we
Right.
need somebody like Yusek Claire who can provide context to what the president is doing, to what the president is saying, and at the same time color to what the president is saying.
I agree with you kasi talagang when I was asked, no, sabi ko, he has to have a spokesperson
Yes,
kasi
yes, definitely.
when there's a vacuum of information, fake news can come in. At least nandoon si Claire.
Correct.
Ay, si Claire talaga, bardagulan talaga. Ang
Oo,
style
dahil
niya, which is-
after her, yung daily press briefing, mayroon pa siyang
Sarili
podcast sa
niya.
gabi. May vlog pa siya. So talagang kino-cover niya lahat.
Yes.
And I think she's going around the country also, no? To
Pwede siyang
precisely-
senador, by the way.
Boboto ka ba sa kanya?
Why not?
Why not?
Magaling siya. I've seen her. I've
Yes.
spoken to her personally.
Yusek Claire is a lawyer. She has a job to do and she's doing that job
Alam mo na,
very
may
well.
suggestion ako. Sec Dave, tanggalin mo na siya dyan sa piso, ilagay mo na siya sa prosecution team.
Kaya minsan nasusupalpal yung mga DDS kay Yusek Claire kasi hindi nila alam how to counter-attack
Pero napansin ko nga yun, di ba? Parang, did you notice that siya yung katapat na siya ang panglaban sa mga DDS, whether it was intentional or not, siya talaga tagapag
No, that was not by design. No? But
Okay.
she's really, that's part of her job to respond to respond to misinformation, to clarify misinformation, and to put things in context talaga. So,
Maganda yun kasi
not by design.
pero okay sa'yo na medyo street level yung pananalita niya and all that. Not naman the more coarse, but very, very plain spoken that people can understand.
I'm a believer in effective communications kasi, Sec, no? So, part of effective communications is your messages resonating well to your audiences. And I think si Yusek Claire resonates very well to a larger audience, no? So that's why her style really fits the current needs, no?
As we speak, ano pang tingin mo sa communication side ang medyo may kahinaan ang administration? Saan aspeto?
Oo, yun na nga nabanggit ko kanina, Gob, no? Yung acquisition of news and information, halos 50-50 na ngayon in digital and traditional media, no? Ako, I must confess that I came from traditional media sa print nga, no? So, medyo yon gamay ko na, no? And I think we need to focus more on digital communications in social media and to put our narrative out there for people to understand.
So you know,
That's a very complicated yan eh. Very complicated.
you know, one of the problems of government media infrastructure is parang they medyo neglected ng PTV4. But under your watch, how have you improved because I've seen a large change in PTV4.
Yes, and we're very happy to have GM Lino Cayetano on board. No, he has very creative and very innovative ideas and plans for PTV4. No, and we're excited to have him on board. No, I've seen what he calls his roadmap for the government state media, and I think with GM Lino, we see a lot of promise in PTV4.
Kasi napakalaki ng infrastructure ng government information machinery, Bureau of Broadcast, yung Public Information Agency,
PNA.
diba? PNA, Philippine News Agency. Mayroon pang mayroon
PTV4,
pa ba yung
IBC
sa yung
13,
foreign mayroon pa ba yung sa foreign relations something?
Yung International Press Center. It's really more for accrediting foreign correspondents who come here. No?
So wala yun.
Meron pa rin IPC. No? IPC.
So this Monday is the SONA.
Yes.
The only time that the president is invited to speak before Congress.
Yes.
And what are your, as press secretary, I would imagine that you have discussions with the president. What are the priorities that the press, if you're at liberty to share, what are the priorities that the president would like to emphasize during the SONA?
Siguro, I'd just like to clarify. A lot of people are saying na this is the penultimate SONA of the president, the fifth of his 6 SONAs.
Right.
No? So 2 years na lang. To me, it's 2 years pa. I think a lot of things can still be done in the next 2 years. For this particular SONA, as you know, the president really keeps it very close to his chest. No?
Right.
He's drafting his own SONA with inputs from the various departments. Hiningan na kami ng mga inputs namin for highlights of the year. But he's keeping it very close to his chest. No? But we would say na mga nasa 80-90% tapos na yung SONA. No? So, abangan na lang natin sa Lunes siguro. Anong sasabihin?
Mayroon bang mahiya naman kayo? Alam mo, ako mayroon gustong marinig na word eh.
Ano may mga sagot ni Sec Dave? Yan din ang sagot ko nung gano'n.
Nung nandun ka. Kahit alam mo, hindi mo sasabihin. Ako, kung, di ba, mahiya naman kayo. Ako, meron akong maawa naman kayo. Yung mga nagsasamantala sa mga kababayan natin. Yun ang gusto kong marinig sa Pangulo eh. Maawa naman kayo. Diba?
So, but 80%, so malapit na.
Yes, malapit na. I mean, the president will work over the weekend, hanggang sa weekend.
Oo, nag-rehearsal pa yan, di ba?
Nakailang draft na ba kayo?
As I said, he's keeping it very close to his chest. No, kami, binigay lang namin yung ano namin.
Pupunta pa ba siya sa Congress, yung rehearsal? Yung ibang presidente dati, pupunta pa doon. Actual talaga eh.
Wala yata.
Pero yung iba, ang alam ko, doon sa palasyo, yun talaga actual rin. Diba?
And just like in any other SONA, no, siguro yung what to expect. SONA is a report card, as you know, Sec. No? It's a report card of the achievements, accomplishments for the year. No? And at the same time, it sets the legislative agenda for Congress. So, yung both, on both scores, I think that one we can expect. No? The President will lay out, will outline his accomplishments for the year and lay out the legislative agenda for the executive and legislative to work on this coming session year.
I understand he met with the private sector advisory council yesterday. So siguro maybe he's trying to get some inputs, lalo na sa economic side, no? Yung mga packages that he will be trying to push sa Congress siguro, no? Kasi it's very critical talaga yung Philippine ekonomiya natin, yun. Ang daming headwinds di ba? Nandiyan yung giyera sa Gulf hindi matapos-tapos. I mean sa Iran hindi matapos-tapos.
Yeah.
Diba?
President Marcos has made several trips abroad, no, overseas, and critics have called it expensive photo ops. How do you respond to that? But before you respond to that, the spokesman will return after this short break. And the spokes is back, still with PCO Secretary Dave Gomez. But before you answer our hanging questions, no, there's a question from our live viewer, Jill. Why did Malacanang appoint Direct Lino Cayetano in PTV4? Does this have any political color at all?
Wala, not at all. No, let me clarify that. Yung nomination kay GM Lino was a long time ago, no? A few months back before itong kaguluhan natin sa Senado.
So, nag-timing lang nung
nag-timing lang nung bumaba. Well, you know, that's like yung papel appointment papers take some time in the palace. So, it's purely coincidental, nothing political, and based on the qualifications of GM Lino. He's a media practitioner. He's in the creative arts industry. So he's really a perfect fit. And he's an administrator, a former mayor. So
Right.
he has all the qualifications to be a general manager of PTV4.
Wasn't he a director also?
Director, I think.
So will he
Yes,
have a
yes.
hand in the SONA? In blocking the president or blocking the shots in the SONA?
Yeah, his PTV4 is involved in the coverage ng
Okay.
together with the RTVM, no? Involved sa coverage natin on Monday.
But curious lang, sino ang nag-suggest ng pangalan ni GM Lino Cayetano? Would you know?
Hindi ko alam kung sino originally nag-suggest, but his name has been floating around for some time, and we really feel that he's best fit for the role, no? So we're glad that he accepted the offer, the challenge, and we're excited to have
But
him.
you realize that, if I'm not mistaken, since Senator Alan Cayetano attacked Ping Lacson, Ping Lacson has been digging a lot of the flood control issues in Taguig.
Yes.
And my understanding, I don't know if this is correct, is Lino is the source of all these flood control projects.
There was even a report that GM Lino is willing to testify.
Oh.
Totoo kaya yun.
It's the other way around, no? I think hindi siya yung source, but they're trying to get information from him. That's why he was invited to
Because he
to
was
testing.
mayor.
Because he was mayor, and he knows the projects in his city.
So balik tayo dun sa hanging question
Yeah,
natin.
sure.
No? Sabi daw, ang daming biyahe ng Pangulong Marcos. Ito sinasabi pa natin na ito'y lahat, ito ay parang mga expensive photo ops. Anong sagot natin dyan?
Again, Sec Gob, you know yung mga ganyang foreign trips, hindi naman you just wake up one day and say to yourself, I want to go to this country, I want to
Right.
go to this continent. Yung mga foreign trips na yan are based on the invitation of the heads of state, no? So, iniimbitahan ng Pangulo natin, at hindi naman makatanggi ang Pangulo natin sa mga ganong official or state invitation, no? And kung makikita nyo, yung mga state visit na yan, punong-puno, pak na pak yung araw ng Pangulo. Kung minsan, 5-6 na meetings in a day. And then immediately after, lipad na uli ang Pangulo pabalik. No? In fact, pag tinidiscuss yan before the trip, pag medyo mahaba, pinapakat short pa ng Pangulo saying na I need to be back. I need to be here in our country dahil marami pang affairs of government that he needs to attend to. No? Yes, Gob.
Tama yun, no? I'm not sure kung ganito pa rin. Pag state visit kasi, di ba, invited ang head of state. Ang gumagastos niyan yung nag-i-invite eh. Yan ang pagkakaalam ko.
May state visit, fully may working visit, depende kung anong arrangement ng visit. So, may burden ng host country kung if it's a state, it's a working visit.
But what we do pag may mga ganong imbitasyon na nga, we organize a lot of meetings around those official invitation, or like meetings with the private sector, with the Filipino community.
Especially the Filipino community.
Yes.
Standard.
Pero siguro ang tanong ng taong bayan dyan, anong mga pakinabang ng bansa natin so far
Good question.
Kababayan natin?
Good question,
Along
Bob.
that line, tama, ano ang metric mo to be considered a successful foreign trip?
Ako, I will not go far. I'll go to at least the last 4 trips na lang ng Pangulo, no? And I would really categorize it as very successful because pag uwi ng Pangulo, marami siya nakukuha na fresh investments or yung mga iba additional investment ng existing businesses nila in our country. And that would translate into more quality jobs for our people.
So specifically, halimbawa, kumbaga, you bring home the bacon, anong nadala niya? From the US or Canada or
yung Japan, parang 3.4 billion yata yun, ang naiuwi natin from Japan, worth of investment, new and additional investment. Yung Canada, I think, fresh 2.5 billion commitment to Pax Silica, no?
Let's talk about that Pax Silica. Ang ingay niya, and it seems like it's a sunrise thing for the country. What is this whole Pax Silica thing?
A lot of us are very excited with Pax Silica. Sabi ko nga, 2 taon pa ang Pangulo, and I think with Pax Silica would be one of the landmark programs in the next 2 years, because this is second initiative put together by the United States, learning from the lessons of the pandemic na disrupt yung mga supply chain natin. Now with the AI boom, they want to ensure na hindi easily ma-disrupt yung supply chain. No? So they are now encouraging investments in what they call trusted partners, trusted countries. Konti lang yung sinama nila dito sa Pax Silica, and we're very fortunate that we are one of those trusted partners of the United States.
In Southeast Asia, 2 lang, the Philippines and Singapore lang.
Correct. And may maraming investments na papasok diyan, no? not just in AI or data centers, but in semiconductor, in electronics. And do sa hub natin, if you recall, the President had a trilateral meeting with Japan and the US, and they committed to develop the Central Luzon Economic Corridor. No?
So sa Clark ito,
sa Clark ilalagay yung Pax Silica. And sa ngayon pa lang, marami ng investors na committed to come in. And in fact, the US State Department themselves predicted, na sabi nila, at pag na-launch na natin itong programa na Pax Silica, it has the potential to grow our economy double digits. It has the potential to generate up to 1 million quality jobs. So imagine yung impact sa ekonomiya at sa ordinaryong mamamayan. No?
Part of the Pax Silica, if I'm not mistaken, is the investment also in extractive industries, mining the minerals necessary for semiconductors and all that. What is the value to us? Because do we just export our minerals? Because environmentalists are claiming it damages the environment. But in so far as, what's the new thing, apart from all these industries that you're building, ano ang mangyari dun sa mga minerals na na-extract natin? Ito ba'y panapadala or may value chain tayo na magpo-process dito?
Oo, yun nga yung maganda. Pag na-set up na natin itong mga industries na to, Sec, no? So dito na natin ipo-process yun. No? I mean, like any other new initiative, there will always be critics. Right. No? Like any other American initiatives, there will be anti-American voices talking against Pax Silica. But again, at the end of the day, this Pax Silica has the potential to grow our economy double digits.
And what is the ballpark investment, total investment for Pax Silica?
Wala pa tayong number na mailalagay diyan, ano? Kasi so far they're securing investors pa lang, but the big names na yung big companies na yung being branded about, no?
Right.
I'm not just at liberty to disclose.
Totoo ba yan na yung area, yung development, parang 10 BGC yan? Ganon? So, ganun karami ang ma-employ niyan?
malaki talaga, malaki talaga.
Siguro, sariling
Gobera.
eskwelahan yan, sariling university, sariling hospital, etc. Kung ganun, 10 ganun.
Malaki
it's a
talaga yung
massive,
malaki talaga yung
investment.
investment Gob, no. Yung doon sa data centers alone, no. We plan to scale up our capacity in terms of data center. That can rival even Singapore now, who's leading the AI boom, no.
Data centers are huge guzzlers of consumers of power and
Energy,
water.
yes,
And water.
yes.
And are we prepared? Because already people are claiming, as is what's happening right now in the U.S., communities are complaining about the presence of data centers because they take water, they take
Yes.
power.
Yes.
Are we
In fact,
prepared?
New York has already
Moratorium.
banned the construction of mega data centers.
How are we able to address that?
Yes, yung specifically power, no, and the cost of power. The cost of power is a concern for locators, no, the data center locators, no, and they really want to bring it down, the cost of power. In fact, inassure na sila ng Pangulo at ng ating mga economic managers. They can even resort to bring your own power, meaning set up your own renewable sources of power. Hindi na pupunta yan sa grid, diretso na pwede nyo na magamit. So mas bababa yung cost of power. Water, ganun din, may assurance na tayo from DNR na hindi naman magkakaroon ng shortage sa water, no. So I guess ito lang yung mga some critics will be critics, haters will hate, no, but some anti-American voices as well, no. So it's natural, and it's healthy for any democracy to get those criticisms.
But I'm sure the regulatory bodies of the government will not allow destruction or disruption of
Tama yun.
public
Correct,
utility services.
Correct.
Nakalusot tayo, medyo we had this tension in the Middle East. So it's not over yet. But how are we preparing for a possible renewed tension between Iran and the US again?
Sec, we haven't taken our feet off the gas pedal, no. We are still in an energy emergency situation. So nandiyan pa rin yung ating uplift, no.
Right.
At patuloy pa rin yung mga interventions na uplift. In fact, last week in-announce ng Pangulo na dinagdagan pa natin yung budget for the interventions natin sa uplift. So para doon sa lumawak ngayon yung mga marginalized and vulnerable sectors that we are extending.
Kasi katataas lang ng gasolina.
Mas naman kahapon di ba? Oo.
Pero anong long-term strategy natin to achieve energy security?
That's if there's any silver lining, if I may say silver lining to all of this, no, yung tension in the Middle East, it's really the focus on renewables, no. So now there's more focus on renewables. We're inviting a lot of non-traditional partner countries before to invest in renewables in our country. I mean, solar, sa laki ng archipelago natin, and wind.
Pero I understand the FIT allocation is already, di ba, used up, di ba, Sec Edwin?
Pero ang problema kasi ng renewables is the storage, battery storage.
Battery.
Kasi yan, kung maayos yan, I think, hindi siya baseload ngayon di ba?
Yes.
Hindi siya baseload, kaya medyo, we have to improve the battery storage ng mga renewables. By the way, let's talk about the approval ratings of the President. It's a bit lower than VP Sara Duterte. No? How does one, from the comms team, view that? And how do you first acknowledge it, and how do you try to redress that situation?
From a comms perspective, I view survey numbers as just a snapshot of a particular moment in time, a particular moment in our history. From the point of view of the President, hindi siya talaga nadidistract ng numbers. Ang Pangulo tuloy lang ng pag-deliver ng serbisyo to improve the lives of our people. No? So, but to us communicators, it's a guidepost moving forward, but it's still a snapshot in history. No? Narinig ko nga minsan sinabi ng Pangulo that sometimes the status quo may be the contemporary may be hard, but history will be kinder.
Oh.
Talagang inasagot ko rin. Ang mababa ang numbers namin.
Nandun ka, yun yung sagot mo, di ba? Sec, there are criticisms that PCO is branded as a defense of the prosecution team and Marcos administration. How do you react to that?
Well, it's our mandate to be the lead communicator for the executive department and the office of the president. Now, as far as the impeachment is concerned, narinig yun ng Pangulo at kami din mismo sinasabi namin na this is a legislative process. No, this is the job of Congress and the Senate. So we are just interested spectators dito sa impeachment trial na to.
Okay, pareho tayong reporter dati. Tapos napasok din ako sa gobyerno. Ikaw ngayon. How do you defend now the policies of the government which we have questioned before as journalists?
Tulad ano?
Going back, Gob, no, nung panahon natin sa Kongreso, nung nagko-cover tayo ng Kongreso, early on in my career, Sec, I learned the value of public service and holding people to account. And I know the power and the role of media to hold our elected officials to account. No? Ganon din yung reality check ko. Now that I'm in government, I know that the media expect this from us. So to us, it's really providing more transparency and even holding ourselves to account. So I think
how do you do that? How do you make the government hold to account?
Yung part of my opening statement kanina, Sec, it's really as a communicator. It's really my commitment to the truth, no. And providing that truth in a transparent and open way to the media is really part of my job, no. And I can safely say that everything that we are saying can withstand scrutiny because it's the truth. No?
Kumusta si PBBM as a boss?
Nakakapagod. Nakakapagod. Sobrang sipag ng Pangulo natin, nakakapagod sa bayan. And I hats off really to the President. No? I see his schedule every day. It's really packed.
Ikaw ba nakakatanggap ng hating gabi, madaling araw ng tawag? Kaya katulad kay Sec Edwin nung araw.
Sec, it's a 24/7 role, as you know.
Walang ano yan,
Walang weekends.
walang weekends yan.
At wala daw bakasyon.
So ano pinaka-challenging na trabaho mo, apart from the Trump tariff negotiations? This whole thing about the flood control, didn't you consider it as a burden? Because obviously the president's first cousin has been identified and all that. So how do you handle that?
Oo, Sec, when I was in my old role in the tobacco industry, sabi ko nga parang every month may bagong issue na kami kinakaharap sa tobacco industry. In this role, parang everyday may headwind. Everyday may headwind. So parang naging daily telenovela to. And looking back the past years, we've really been confronted with a lot of issues, no? From the tariffs with the U.S. to the flood control controversy and a lot of natural disasters, natural calamities that happened last year. Sunod-sunod talaga. And then, of course, the political circus. Ang daming nangyari nung nakalipas na taon. But the good thing there was the President was not distracted. Patuloy pa rin yung trabaho ng Pangulo, yung kanyang delivery of public services. And yun yung makikita natin sa SONA. I believe that he will outline a lot of accomplishments this year in the area of education, affordable healthcare, public works, transparency in public works, food security. Mahaba yung listahan. Kahit na maraming issues na pumutok last year, I believe the President was very successful. A lot of people were trying to derail him, but he was very focused on his agenda, and he was very successful in keeping our train on track.
Ito, Sec Dave, last tough question. Di
Promise.
Sa mga kababayan natin na apparently hindi na naniniwala sa presidente, anong mensahe mo sa kanila?
Well, una-una, makinig sila sa SONA intindihin nila yung ulat sa bayan to
Right.
ng Pangulo. Makikita nila doon na talagang marami nang nagawa ang ating Pangulo. Unfortunately, maraming noise, marami talagang
Right.
ingay. Yung sinasabi ko kanina, people or other vested interests, political and otherwise, will try to get us, to derail us. But we need to be focused on our agenda and keep our train
Right.
on track. No? So, yun siguro, Gob.
So, ang mensahe ni Sec Dave sa atin, 2 taon pa.
Dalawang taon pa.
Yes,
Dalawang taon pa.
So, hindi yan, parang, most people are saying, wala na, 2 taon na lang, di ba? So, iba, you just pivot it and say there are 2 more years left, di ba?
Kasi sinasabi
Hindi
ng iba, parang
dalawang
lame
taon
duck
na
na,
lang, 2 taon pa.
So, maraming salamat, Sec Dave Gomez. It was a pleasure to finally get the most hard to get.
No, it's really my honor. Maraming salamat for having me. Thank you for
Thank
having
you,
me.
Sec.
Gob.
Thank you, Sec.
As Bilyonaryo News Channel expands its reach in Central Luzon, the delayed telecast of the spokes can now be seen at CLTV from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., just before agenda. I'm former Secretary Edwin Lacierda.
I'm former Governor Ben P. Evardone, and we are the Spokes.
Thanks, Dave.